Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Global Football League Season 1 draft. I'm your host, Tom Box. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Michael Slate. Howdy.
Greetings, man. It's going to be a good one. I am on the edge of my seat. I've been waiting for this. Frothing at the bit. Amazing selections, some amazing teams. We got our team captains up there ready to start making their picks, hoping that they have theirs. But to ring it all in, the league owner, Blaze Vela.
All right, welcome everybody to the Season 1 live G.F.L draft. I am the owner of the league, Blaze Vela, and thank you everybody for being here. It's truly amazing the amount of support you guys have shown over the last month, and it's kind of crazy. It's only been a month since I had this crazy idea of trying to bring SL football back. I'm happy I did. You guys and everybody in the community really have come together, helped out wherever they can, and we're finally here. We're finally at the draft. This is what's going to make and break teams right here. So, without further ado, enough with me talking. Let's get this draft going. Season 1 of the G.F.L draft is now officially open, and the first team that is on the clock is going to be the Scorpions.
All right. Tom, what do you think the prediction is going to be here? So we talked about it a little bit in the pre-game show or the pre-draft show. What are you feeling the Scorpions are going to do?
I'm feeling they're going to go with some hands. So, Scorpions are on the clock. Scorpions, you have 2 minutes for your draft pick.
All right, Chris Bears is over there deliberating while he's waiting to approach that pedestal there and confirm his selection. Here he comes. I think he already knew exactly who he was going for with the first round pick.
With the first overall pick of the G.F.L Season 1 draft, Scorpions take Rain Norwood.
Rain Norwood, exactly who we thought. For those of you that have been around, Troy Briere. Excellent set of hands. Very, very excellent first choice, Tom. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we all saw that coming. Troy's an all-around good, phenomenal player. So it's not a surprise to see him go instantly. So next up, we're gonna have the unicorns. The unicorns are going to be on the clock here in just a second. As soon as it clicks over.
So Troy Briere's okay. Unicorns are now on the clock, and we've got Gunny already out of his seat. Knows exactly who's going to pick as well. I think this first round is going to be pretty cut and dry. Well, he's certainly keeping us on our toes here. I guess utilizing some more of his last seconds of his 2 minutes here to ensure his selection is proper.
Okay. With the second pick in the first round, the Unicorns take Purdy Panther, Second Life University.
Purdy getting picked in second
Purdy
overall. We
Panther,
discussed a little
alrighty.
bit after the pregame show. This is a shock, but not a big shock. We talked about how great she is at line. So we knew the line was going to get scooped up quickly, but this was not the selection we thought that the
Yeah,
Unicorns were going to go
absolutely.
with. Definitely a surprise.
Definitely a surprise, but not a surprise. We talked on the pre-show about building that foundation of linemen, to build your team around. And Purdy Panther is definitely on top of that list of some of the greatest linemen there on the field, especially with outside linebacker. Like you line up with her, and it's hell to pay. So next up on the clock is going to be the Chargers. Chargers, you have 2 minutes to make your selection.
Immediately out of the seat, we see Cameron Cora going straight to the podium, not wasting any time. We can expect to see scrambling of that, priority throughout the course of the season.
With the third pick in the 2020 G.F.L draft, the Superchargers select Thomas Box, Mississippi State.
Well, I'll be Monkey's uncle. Sitting right next to me is the third overall selection in the G.F.L draft. Thomas Box, my co-host, going to the Superchargers. Tom, how you feeling, man?
Surprised, elated, and excited.
We can all hear the elation in your voice.
I'm really taken back.
Congratulations,
really
Tom. No longer a undrafted free agent, but a lineman for the Superchargers. The Ravens, you are on the clock. The Ravens, one of those wild cards, up there deliberating on their 2 minutes here. Tom, what are you thinking on the Ravens?
Honestly, I am not quite sure, but Veronica Vela is up to the stage. We'll give her the full floor here.
I'm going to speak for the Ravens. The captain is having some issues right now. So for the Ravens, this season of the G.F.L, they will be selecting in the first round Cheese Quicksand.
Now, Cheese, an amazing veteran. I've seen him play line. I've seen him in the secondary. I've seen him play receiver. I mean, Cheese is a great selection, and we knew that he would be a selectable lineman early in the draft, but we had no idea how the Ravens would be drafting because of, we've got a couple of veterans, one that is a really old veteran, a couple of names that are new to the league. So this was definitely a very wild card selection, and Cheese, my man, has gone fourth overall in the draft.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we talked about the linemen, and it's just showing exactly how these team coaches and these captains are thinking. So next up on the clock is going to be the 49ers. This is that team we talked about that just kind of showed up randomly, a few years back. So none other than Lieutenant Dan is going to be approaching the podium and announce his pick for round one. And might I say, those polos are looking pretty fly.
49ers select Mr. Buttersworth, Ray Roberts.
And Mr. Butterworth going early on. We knew he'd go early on. We were actually thinking he would be going to a different team. But Ray Robert, a shimmy shaking quarterback that's definitely got the legs from the Spartans CFL season 1. He was, he played with, no, I think he was, I don't remember, but he's got the legs. He's got the arm. Ray Robert going 5th overall to the 49ers. Congrats, Ray.
Yep, fantastic pick. And next up on the clock is that team we talked about, the Wildcats. Wildcats, you have 2 minutes to make your selection, and you may as well stay up on the podium for your second round pick.
This is where back-to-back selections are critical in a snake draft of this style because they're going to get 2 solid choices early on. This is a team that has a lot of history working with each other. this core four. So are they going to be sticking to what they know and drafting other players that they've worked with, or are they going to be going with some new talent that they may have observed in some of those pickups? It's a big unknown, and I'm excited to see how they go because it's going to kind of tell us the direction they're going to be going moving into the season.
Alrighty, and before Bart makes it up there, I've been asked by the league owner, please do not remove names from the draft list. Please don't remove any names from the draft list on the document. And looks like Bart Ricker is making it up to the podium. We'll see who he picks.
With the sixth overall pick, the Wildcats select Money Mike.
And Money Mike, a well-established veteran receivers going 6th overall. The Wildcats are going to have that 7th pick as well, doubling down. Money Mike's a great selection. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
Excellent, well-rounded player. Completely across the board, someone that you want to have on your team. You know, he can catch, he can pass, he can block, he can read the field on secondary. I mean, just a fantastic player. So it's a great selection.
So 2 more minutes on the clock as the Wildcats GMs deliberate the 7th overall pick and the first pick of the 2nd round officially of the GFL.
And with the 2nd pick of the 1st round, well, anyways, the Wildcats select Dan Forager.
And Dan Forager going as well, back-to-back, great picks. Definitely a dangerous squad of veterans lining up here. Dan Forager, Money Mike, Bart Ricker's really building out a well-rounded group of veterans. Having this back-to-back pick definitely played in his advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. To be able to grab those 2 caliber players is absolutely phenomenal, and is definitely going to, as Blaze said, that's going to make the team down the road. So San Francisco 49ers, you are on the clock for round 2 pick.
In the 2nd round, the 49ers select Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, another one of those just incredibly talented players, and a little bit of the dab there. Skinner comes off the podium. It's just one of those players that you just see, and that's part of their core that they've been playing with for quite some time. So not a incredibly surprising pick, but still a great pick. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a player that Skinner is definitely familiar with playing with on the field, which going to that familiarity, Skinner's definitely a major threat. And having a 2nd pick this early on played to his advantage, and he's building out a very well-rounded squad of players that actually all share Super Bowl rings from a previous season.
Absolutely. And Ravens are now on the clock for the round 2 picks.
We'll see if we have our marketing director return to the podium for the Ravens, or if they've got their. Yep, we see the marketing director, Veronica Vella, reapproaching the podium to announce for.
In the 2nd round of the GFL draft, the Ravens are selecting Big Pots.
Gang holla.
Alrighty, so the Ravens picking up a Big Pots, and I believe that is going to be a name that I'm not familiar with. What about you?
Not unless they have a display name I'm not used to seeing. Is this the first selection of a brand new player?
I think it very well could be. So next up on the clock is going to be the Superchargers. Superchargers, you have 2 minutes to make your choice.
It's a very, interesting move. A wild card team. I'm excited to see how it plans out.
With the second round pick, the Chargers select Kobe Varnish, Ball So Hard University.
And the Wizard himself going second overall, Kobe
Hurricane
Varnish.
holla.
Man, driving out. This is, between you and Kobe Varnish, we've got 2 excellent positions on the line. Kobe's a very well-rounded player. He's played many positions. He's experienced, and he's played with many members of the Chargers in previous seasons. So we're seeing a very strong core grouping here that are going to be contenders for sure.
Absolutely. This will actually be my first season to play with Kobe. So that'll be interesting. So the Unicorns are next on the clock. I see Mr. Grime is stepping up, coming up to the podium. So let's see his second round pick.
With the second round pick, the Unicorns select Michael Slate.
Alrighty,
That
Big
was
Mike.
very unexpected. Do I got to talk about myself, Tom?
So Michael Slate, been in the game for quite some time. It's no surprise that you went that early. I've seen you play pretty much every position: wide receiver, line begrudgingly, coverage. You warmed the bench with me on a Super Bowl. All around great pick. So, Scorpions, you are up. 2 minutes on the clock. It's also interesting to see, while Chris makes his way up, it's also interesting to see the shift from lineman now, to someone grabbing a receiver.
Yeah, I was not expecting to go this early. I am completely shocked. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm glad to see a few names that I've played with. So I definitely recognize many players. I've played with Gunny, played with V. So I mean, it's definitely a very warm welcome that I get to play with experienced players that I've played with before. And being an early round wide receiver, I'm completely in shock.
Absolutely. Scorpions, you are still on the clock for your pick.
With the second round pick, the Scorpions select Zaney Lockwood.
Alrighty, the Scorpions picking Zaney. That one is not a surprise. We knew he would go really, really early in the draft. Phenomenal player, phenomenal hands. Just overall, great wide receiver, and secondary coverage as well.
And with the third round pick, the Scorpions select Psych Troglodyte.
And definitely a name that is that has not been heard for a little bit. Psych, all around, you know, not only a great guy, but great in the positions with Rodgers, receiving and cornerbacking. If those are the two that he's going to be put in, definitely a contender and a threat on those positions. Mike, if you're talking, I can't hear you, buddy.
Sorry, I was dealing with the kiddos.
I gotcha. And next up on the clock is going to be the Unicorns.
With the third round pick, the Unicorns select Gavin Silvershade.
Gavin Silvershade going to the Unicorns. Let's see. And these teams are rounding out fast. I'm looking at the list of people in the draft pool, and we're going to see, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more rookies going later this round or maybe early next round.
Yep, absolutely. As the selections have shifted now, it'll be interesting to see what the Superchargers pick is next.
With the third round selection, the Superchargers select Jack Mitchell, Cornell.
Alrighty, with that selection, I believe you are right, Mike. I believe the first rookie has been picked up in the draft. So third round rookie pick.
Now, Jack Mitchell, I believe, has played previously.
Has he?
Yes.
Must have been before my time.
I believe Jack Mitchell was with the Raiders one of the CFL seasons. But he definitely earned the Bucks. The Bucks played for the Buccaneers. Yeah,
I got you. Well, see. Alrighty, next up on the clock are the Ravens. Speaking of the Ravens.
In the third round pick, the Ravens select Rudy Barham.
and Rudy, definitely a familiar returning veteran, going to the Ravens. So Rudy's been around the league a long time, played a lot of positions. I'm guessing he's going to be in some kind of skill position or hands position with the Ravens, be it a safety or receiver or something along those lines.
I definitely see him getting his hands on the balls, that's for sure. Next up is going to be the 49ers.
In the third round, the 49ers select Bizzerly.
And Biz, that's a name that we spoke of very early on in the show when we were doing our draft analysis. Another just overall skilled player. Biz can play pretty much anywhere you put him.
I see Biz settling into another hands role there with the 49ers, most likely CB safety, wide receiver positioning. A very well-rounded out selection for the 49ers and a very powerhouse team coming together. So it is amazing seeing the way that the draft is falling through here. It's just kind of structured. Some picks are predictable, some picks are completely unpredictable, and it's all, exciting.
Absolutely. So next up on the clock, with 2 minutes to go, is going to be the Wildcats.
comes Bart. Another set of back-to-back picks here. So this is a very strong position to be in this late in the draft.
With the 6th pick of the 3rd round, the Wildcats select Ochiko.
Another name I'm not familiar with. Was that Ochiko, Tom?
That was, and I do believe that's going to be one of the rookies.
Yeah,
And then
if
with
Ho-
the 1st pick of the 4th round, the Wildcats select Will Suggs.
So they pick Hochiko and then Will Suggs in their back-to-back selections.
Yep, and those are definitely two names that I've heard Will Suggs before, I think. So definitely those are two names that I have not heard before. So next up on the clock is going to be the 49ers again. Skinner's going to be stepping up and making his next pick.
In the 5th round, the 49ers select first Leviathan, Toroff.
A big surprise that Tor took this long to get selected. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-draft show. Tor is an excellent line selection. Shocked it took this long for him to be selected, but a very good pick for the Niners.
Absolutely, he is definitely on the top tier of linemen. And if you are a lineman, you definitely know the name. He's right there along the lines of Otis, and you know I love watching those two go at it because that gives me a chance to go against somebody else. So, but a great pick by the 49ers. So the Ravens back up on the clock.
Something to note as the Ravens go into the selection is the lineman pool is thinning out. I think we only have 13 more linemen listed in the draft pool. So line will be, I think, a very hot commodity in the upcoming rounds to try to round out their solidified lines. I think that's going to be what we see quite a bit of coming soon.
It's definitely been an interesting kind of back and forth between linemen going first and second round, and then the receiver core starting to be brought in, and the secondary being start to be brought in. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out, whether or not there'll be people transition into that line role out of necessity, or if there's going to be enough linemen for each team to have a full line based on draft priority. So the drift is in, and here comes the marketing director, Veronica Vella, to announce for the Ravens.
In the 5th round, the Ravens select Primetime.
Primetime, definitely a name we do recognize. Very good selection by the Ravens and a well-rounded out player. Tom, have you played with I think you've played with Primetime before.
I don't think I have. I do not believe I have. Prime's definitely one of those household names that everybody knows in the SL football. If you've played at some point, you know the name Primetime. It's kind of one of those household, everybody knows him. Alrighty, and with that said, the Superchargers are going to be on the clock for their next pick.
With our fourth round selection, the Superchargers select Dwayne Viper.
Dwayne Viper, another one of those household names when it comes to SL football. Believe he was part of the old school Titan squad, kind of a regular grouping of high caliber players that have transitioned into other roles in other teams over the years, but a very, very skilled player nonetheless, and a great addition to the Superchargers.
Absolutely, it's going to be great playing with him again. With the time on the Cowboys, so great, fantastic pick. Next up on the clock is going to be the Unicorns, and Mr. Grime is already on his way to the podium for it.
With the 4th round pick, the Unicorns select Snagglepuss Resident.
Alrighty, and the Unicorns with their selection of Snagglepuss, that is definitely a name that I am not familiar with. Mikey?
Snagglepuss is confirmed as a have not played NSL season football rookie before, so we do have a true rookie in Snagglepuss. Round out the team, which I am totally cool with that because I get to be on a team with some rookies, which is awesome. Like one of the things I love about SL football and all previous seasons of SL football is when you have rookies that have not played before taking the field for the first time, helping just kind of slip into that role to help coach them and guide them and develop their skills is something I've always enjoyed as part of, the practice and scrimmage section of week to week operations in SL football. So that's pretty exciting to get a rookie on the team.
Absolutely, and I know that's something that you enjoy. That's kind of one of the ways that you and I actually met is kind of in one of those roles. So next up on the clock is going to be the Scorpions. And as we wait for Chris to make it up to the podium, the names are definitely getting thinner on the draft list. I still see some names that I've seen before. A lot of names that I haven't seen before as well on there. You've still got a couple linemen that are up there. So this will be an interesting pick if he's going to go with, filling that gap, filling a little bit more of the lineman out, or if they're going to go, excuse me, receiver.
I think there's definitely a need to snatch up the line while they're there, but I'm sure they've kind of planned and pre-planned and have a few names in their hat of who they are looking to select to be the next Scorpion. There are definitely some experienced line still left there. You got Eunice, you got Schmoke CeeLo, Dre Flyboy Youngin. These are all, players that we've seen time and time again perform on teams. Dana's still in the list. You've still got Darian Humphreys on the list. You've still got Skyton Slade out there. So we've got some experienced line selections, but they could be going into filling out their skill positions or their hands positions as well. So it'll be very curious to see who the next Scorpion is going to be, and I think we'll find out sooner than later.
Yep, for sure. Chris Bears, you are on the clock. Yeah, and with two of their four core players already being linemen, that's going to make their pick a whole lot easier. So I see this going to a receiver. So I'll give the floor over to Mr. Bears there.
Scorpions' next pick is Paul Fernandez, aka Lol Crap Resident.
Hello.
Alrighty, and that's definitely another name that I've seen around in previous seasons as well. So another good solid pick to kind of round out that team that already started as a bit of a powerhouse.
Definitely a good core squad and another hands selection there in a receiver or skilled secondary position. The Scorpions are going to have another pick on the clock right now, 2 minutes.
The Scorpions' next pick is Schmoke CeeLo.
And Schmoke selected. We were just talking about Schmoke being an experienced lineman, and lo and behold, he gets scooped up by the Scorpions. Not a surprise. We knew that line picks were coming. Unicorns are now on the clock.
Yeah, no surprise that a lineman got grabbed on that one, especially with the two core guys already on the line. To grab Smoke as their third lineman, you can't ask for a better setup as that. So
they
next up on the
definitely
clock-
have the foundation of one of the premier lineman core in the league right now. Like, they're rounding out one of the top lines that you could hope to get.
Absolutely. Alrighty, next up on the clock with 2 minutes to go is going to be the Unicorns.
Bro.
With the Unicorns' next pick, we select K. Pierce Robert Resident.
And Kay getting selected as the next unicorn. Another great experienced player. Been in
Someone who's
a
played
lot of
with this team.
seasons.
Yeah.
Identifiable by her and Ray's rainbow socks.
That's right. And she's joining a team, and you look at the list and the names that are at that core and who who she's joining, and it's no surprise. They've played with her before. They've got chemistry with her, so it's a
I've played with Kay too,
yeah,
and Kay
I have
actually
really
was one of the nudges that actually got me to come back into the draft. Kay was one that reached out and got me to commit to coming into the draft, and here we are on the same team.
There we go. So next up going to be on the clock is going to be the Chargers.
With the 5th round selection, the Superchargers select Darian Humphreys.
Whoa, they go with Captain America himself, Dervius
Absolutely.
Humpings. He is a powerhouse, definitely a well-rounded player. I have played with him on the Warriors. He's a great guy and a great addition to any team. He has so much heart and so much drive to improve. one of the reasons I got as good as I did on the Warriors was because Darian pushed me always to try to get better. So, I mean, he is a great addition to any team because he's going to work hard to improve and work to improve those around him. So, great selection.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's one of those guys that you like being around. He's just a genuine nice, nice guy and great player. So I look forward to actually playing alongside with him this time. So that'll be a difference for me. So looking forward to that. So a great pick by the Chargers. So next up on the clock is going to be the Ravens.
Okay, I'm stepping in for Veronica, who had to step away for a minute. And in the 6th round, the Ravens choose Mikey Warblood.
All right, and another one of those names that are just synonymous with SF football. He's been around, he's played, he's made himself known. You can't go into football without hearing that name or seeing him on the field. So
Oh yeah,
fantastic
Mikey
pick.
Warblood, definitely a seasoned receiver. He's spent his time catching them balls and a great addition to the Ravens. I mean, surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, because we were kind of at the helm of a veteran with the Ravens squad here, but they're getting a very well-rounded squad here of veterans and a handful of names that we don't recognize. It's going to be quite the curveball, and they have a huge advantage going into this season coming up because nobody's going to know what to expect out of the gate, which I love.
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic pick. We went into this not really knowing, how the Ravens were gonna choose. And so far the picks have been, they've been fantastic. Sorry, there's a lot of noise going on outside. So next up on the clock is gonna be Skinnerd with the 49ers.
In whatever round this is, the 49ers select Uppity White Girl 71, Dana.
And there's Dana, a name you brought up earlier as a very talented lineman. I've played with her before on, I believe it was the Raiders.
Yes.
I don't remember which team it was that I was on, but she was on several iterations of the Raiders. She's very,
Right.
very talented and skilled player in any position you put her in, especially when she's breaking through as an outside linebacker or DE. So great
She's
addition
definitely
to
a
the
force to contend
49ers.
with there on the field, especially as a lineman. All right, and next up on the clock is going to be the Wildcats with a back-to-back pick.
Okay, with the last pick of the 5th round, the Wildcats select Roby Earnshaw.
Alrighty, and a pick of a wide receiver there for Mr. Earnshaw. I believe again is going to be a name that is known.
Oh yeah, definitely. Roby's got his reps in, that's for sure. So a great pick for the Wildcats for their first selection. I'm curious to see if they're going to go maybe back to the line with their second selection.
We'll find out here in just a second.
Okay, with the first pick of the 6th round, the Wildcats select Skyton Slade.
Yep. And as you mentioned, another lineman there.
And Skyton getting slatched up here. A very experienced defensive lineman. He has offensive line experience. He's got some hands experience as a receiver. A very well-rounded player. One of the linemen I expected to see leave the list a little bit sooner, but it definitely came to the Wildcats' advantage that he did make it as long as he did.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Next on the clock is going to be the Niners with Skinner. Which might I say, like I said, he came prepared. I mean, those polos are nice.
In whatever round this is, the 49ers select Tupac.
Yes. Another name that if you know Second Life football, you know Tupac, hands down.
Yep, Tupac coming back from the dead for the 4th time, rocking it hard and heavy in the G.F.L. and going to them Niners. So, no surprise there. Good guy, good player, hard and heavy.
I don't think I've ever known someone to retire as many times as he has, though. Those retirement checks must be nice. Alrighty, next up on the clock's gonna be the Ravens. You retired at practice once. All right. Believe that Jinxie's going to be coming up to the podium for their next for their pick.
In the 7th round, the Ravens pick Dre Flyboy Youngin.
Now, the veteran going to the Ravens, they really did their draft analysis. You can definitely tell. We got another, he's kind of a jack of all trades in Dre Flyboy Youngin. He's played on the line. He's played, pretty much all the different secondary positions, wide receivers. So, I mean, he's going to be one of those pieces that they can move into positions over the course of structuring their team to exactly where they need him. So, definitely a great addition to whichever section of the team he lands with the Ravens.
Definitely. Next up on the clock is going to be the Superchargers. Cameron's already at the podium. Let's hear his next pick.
The Superchargers select Diego Carver, Francais.
Bot QB.
Ooh, and Diego's going back to the Superchargers. So, for those of you that were tuned in earlier, Diego has been around for a very, very long time. Actually owned a team in CFL Season 2 by way of the Vikings. And unfortunately, I had an opportunity to play with him on those Vikings, and then the season crumbled. So I didn't get to play alongside him during that, but he and Cameron Cora and several other members of the Superchargers do have a history of playing together in SL football and outside of SL football and other video games. So they do have synergy coming into this this selection, which is a very good selection for the Chargers to make. And I mistakenly said that Diego was Italian earlier. He is French. Oh, he's more the baguette instead of the pasta.
Alrighty. And next up on the clock is going to be the Unicorns for their 6th round, I believe. Nope. According to the ticker, we are in round 7.
With the Unicorns' next pick, we select Gabe Islay.
So Gabe Islay being picked there by the Unicorns, straight up a lineman. So the Unicorns
Definitely
fill
another
out
great
that
line
slots.
selection. The Unicorns have a very well rounded line core as well. I mean, uh, the lineman core on several teams here are rounding out to be some of the more offensive protecting linemen that will give these quarterbacks a lot more time, and the defensive monsters that are going to be making other teams scramble. So, like, I don't know that I've ever said this before, but I'm excited to see the O line v D line matchups over the course of this season. Like, I think that's going to be like deciding factors in more than a handful of the games over the course of the season.
It's definitely playing out to that way because with these round picks and these draft picks, linemen are getting picked instantly. So it's definitely going to be that line versus line during these games. So next up on the clock is going to be the Scorpions, and we'll hand it to Chris Bears.
Scorpions' next pick is LE257.
And with Ellie, that's definitely a name that's gone around for quite some time.
Kabir's giving my son back.
And I believe, yeah, so Ellie is definitely a skilled player with wide receiver and also plays in the secondary.
And apparently it's Alf's son.
You can't have him, Alf.
Oh, Lord. All righty, so next up on the clock is going to be the Scorpions with a start of round 8, I believe.
And the Scorpions' next pick is Kulon Dragon.
So Kulon Dragon, a selection that was one of the ones that I had noticed was brand new to the season. They decided they wanted to be a running back was their offensive position, and on defense it was lineman. So we got a defensive lineman slash running back. I'm sure he'll transition into other roles as he becomes familiar with the system, and Chris kind of coaches him into the more structured roles of SL football. But a rookie selection there from the Scorpions, and now the Unicorns are back on the clock.
Unicorns' next selection is Bryce. Bunch of numbers.
Bryce with the next, if I'm not mistaken,
Bryce is a lineman slash receiver secondary. Bryce 84325 resident. Has played before. I'm not familiar with how much or which teams, but definitely does have experience in SL football.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Bryce has some sort of relation to Matt Asadar, because I do remember him being brought in kind of mid-season, a couple seasons ago, and kind of getting used to the game and playing. If I may be mistaken, I apologize if I am, but I'm pretty certain Matt brought him in. And next up on the clock is going to be the Superchargers.
The Superchargers select Malik Smitty.
Malik, that's definitely definitely another one of those names that that you definitely hear and you associate with Second Life football. Back in the day, I think he spent some time out of the league, but I definitely remember that name being said and him being on teams and playing.
Yeah, Malik's definitely a veteran, kind of one of those jack of all trades, kind of fits into whatever role he's needed in, which is kind of rare. Some players fall into a role that they prefer, a role that they're skilled at. Malik will play wherever he's needed. So that's one of those things that it's a huge advantage for a team like the Superchargers that have so many dynamic players that whatever role that Malik needs to be in, he can find a way to fit into that position.
Yep, certainly a great pick there. So on the clock's going to be the Ravens. I thought I saw Jinxie walking up there. There she is.
In the 8th round, the Ravens pick Carter Alchemy.
And another veteran going to the Ravens. Carter is another experienced player. Definitely has put in the work and put in his time and made a name for himself. Kind of a surprising factor. I didn't realize that Carter would have made it this long with how dynamic he's been in the past, how many positions he's played, including QB, that he'd go this late in the draft. It's a bit of a shock, but a very fortuitous pickup by the Ravens.
In whatever round this is, the 49ers select Ruby Kapoor.
Tom, I don't know if I lost you or not, but couldn't hear anything there. Ruby, another returning player, has played a few seasons in those skill positions, and another good addition for the 49ers.
Yep, apologies there. A little bit of a technical difficulty. Alrighty, next up on the clock is going to be the Wildcats for their back-to-back pick.
Okay, the Wildcats in this round select Boss Joker.
Alrighty. With Boss Joker selected there, he's a lineman going into the Wildcats, strengthening that line that they have. Continuing to build upon that.
And with the next pick after that, the Wildcats select Eunice.
Wow, back to back. So
Back-to-back
we had
linemen
Boss
for the-
Jester
Yeah.
followed by Yinis. They're just sweeping the names off of that line board. So with that, I think we only have maybe 3 linemen left.
I believe that is what I count. 3. Yep. Next up on the clock is going to be the 49ers. I believe we are starting into round 9.
In round 9, the 49ers select
Foreign.
And foreign resident going to the 49ers, another one of those veterans you see all over the league. So he's another veteran addition to the Niners.
I see you.
He's been around since before me. Got his experience, and we'll see how he pans out with the Niners.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not a name that isn't known by by everybody here in this league. So solid pick. Next up is gonna be the Ravens.
Oh no.
So the selections are definitely going to have to be more calculated. I think we're going to see more people use more of their 2 minutes to deliberate on who they're going to select. You have some talented veterans still in the pool, but for one reason or another, they're not selected yet, and you have a handful of rookies that people just have their experience at pickup games to base their selection on. So it's coming down to the thick of things where it's going to be a little more calculated, and we'll see how close they get to their 2 minutes.
Absolutely. And here comes Jinx. I believe she's going to be announcing the pick for the Ravens.
In the next round, the Ravens select Tony 23 Ragu.
And with
Definitely-
Tony Ragu,
definitely a
another
name.
veteran off the board.
Yep, exactly. Definitely a name that I know I've played with before. I played with Tony on the 49 on the Cowboys previously. So another well-rounded guy.
So, let's see. With Tony Ragu off the board, I'm trying to really see who if I was a GM, who I would lean towards, and it's getting really hard at this point in the draft to not invest in the unknown of a rookie.
Yeah, definitely picking a rookie is, you've got a bit of a gamble. Definitely, if that rookie hasn't played in too terribly many pickups, you don't exactly know, what they're gonna do. So it looks like the Superchargers are coming up to make their choice.
The Superchargers select Cameron V2 resident.
And with that selection, we now have 2 Camerons on the same team. Maybe they're going to share a locker. But Cameron Resident and Cameron Cora are lacing up together. And we'll see if the cam-to-cam connection pans out.
I can believe in them, so. Unicorns next up on the clock.
With the next selection, the Unicorns select Selena Edring, Pinky.
Now that is a name that I haven't heard in quite some time. Pinky. Pinky being selected there. She is in the lineman pool. Great pick.
Yeah, definitely rounding out the line. I think there's more linemen than are even necessary, but that's a good thing because having solid line as a backup, there's been so many seasons where there's only just enough true linemen to fill out a line squad with backups that fill in circumstances where one may not make it to a game. And by having extra true linemen, you don't have to worry about those gaps in your protection or your pressure in those times. So it's a very wise decision to round out and have extra line or an extra strong lineman core.
Absolutely. That's going to be one of those crucial things because if if you have to pull a receiver to play on line, it just that is not used to A, your playing style, your quarterbacking style, but B, not used to line, you're just putting them there to fill the slot. That's when things start breaking down. So next up on the clock is going to be the Scorpions. Chris Bears is at the podium.
And the Scorpions' next pick is Holden Resident.
So Holden is a rookie.
Listed. Yep, he's listed at all positions.
Listed to any position, so he's open to learn the system in any capacity possible. I knew that we were going to start seeing these rookies get swept up because it's one of those wild cards where it may not pan out the first season they play. They may develop their skills later down the line, but they could be that star player, rookie of the year caliber that are become a game changer that nobody really expected to.
Absolutely. As we segue into the next round, the Scorpions with their next pick.
And the Scorpions' next pick is Nazir 18 Resident.
And Nazir being swept up as a straight up lineman, line on both sides as he has listed. Is that going to be, I believe that's going to be one of the rookies, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely a name that I haven't seen.
Nazir has played in the past on the line. I don't know how many seasons, but I'm pretty sure Nazir is a veteran returning to SL football, to that line position. But definitely anybody who, whether they have or have not played line, are learning from some of the best in going into the lineman core of the Scorpions. So Nazir does have experience, but even if he didn't, he'd be in good hands learning from a line coach like Odith, whom I'm assuming is taking that role.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the Unicorns next up on the clock. Mr. Grime is at the podium for his next pick.
For the Unicorns' next pick, we select Focused Resident.
Now that's definitely a name that I'm not sure of. Mike, not sure if you've seen that one before.
Focused is definitely one of our rookies. Signed up to be wide receiver, tight end, middle linebacker, or defensive back. So a mixture on the defense between either line or middle linebacker position and a hands position on offense. Focused is coming in, never having played a SL season prior. So rounding out those rookies as a selection, I knew some of these teams were going to be start doing here toward the end. Pays off.
Alrighty, and the next up on the clock is going to be the Superchargers.
With our next selection, the Superchargers select Flo Burner.
And a really wise selection, grabbing up Flo Burner by the Superchargers. if nothing else, that they don't have to worry about one of the most meticulous line judges playing or reffing while they play. Very strategic by the Superchargers, and
Right.
they're getting a
He can't ref if
well-rounded
he's
veteran.
playing.
That's what I was getting at. They can't get them line calls from the Burn Master if he's on their team. But he definitely is a seasoned veteran as well, so a very good addition to the Superchargers.
Alrighty, next up on the clock is going to be the Ravens.
So, leading into this, waiting for the Ravens to make their selection. Oh, Jinx is coming up now to relay their selection.
For their next pick, the Ravens choose Chris Marley, resident.
Believe that it's going to be another rookie pick there for the Ravens.
Chris Marley is another rookie that signed up, open to the concept of playing in whatever position they flow into. Signed up for anything, and I'm sure that those Ravens, with as much veteran talent as they have on their squad, will be able to coach and groom Chris Marley into the position that they're designed to play. So, be very curious to see how some of these younger and newer talents develop over the course of this preseason and season.
Absolutely. Next up on the clock is going to be the 49ers. Skinner, that's you.
All right, whatever round this is, the 49ers select 6-1 resident.
QB.
And 6-1 resident being selected by the 49ers. I believe that may be their first rookie selection, first or second rookie selection. They definitely have a younger veteran squad over a older veteran rookie mixture. But 6-1-6 is their first rookie selection, and it could be a mystery, could be somebody that they have played with before and other things, or could be somebody completely unknown to them. But they're in good hands with Skinnerd, and they're going to learn a lot.
Next on the clock is going to be the Wildcats for their back-to-back pick.
And with just 7 players left in the draft pool, a back-to-back pick at this state in the draft is pretty critical.
Yeah, for sure. You can scoop up two names that you're needing and not have to worry about someone else snagging it from you. So one lineman available, Mr. Timmy Tennant. So here comes Bart Ricker, the Wildcats GM, for the next pick.
Okay, with our pick, the Wildcats select Swiss resident.
And Swiss resident getting snatched up by the Wildcats. Swiss is a player that selected no positions, so I don't know if he's wanting to be part of the management team or maybe water boy or no. He's just open to play any position. So Swiss signed up for anything and does not have any experience yet. So a fresh rookie going to the Wildcats with their first of 2 back-to-back selections.
And with our next pick, the Wildcats select Rick Hustler.
And Rich Hustler, going to the Wildcats with their second pick. Another rookie that signed up to be a quarterback, wide receiver, or safety. So a very fine-tuned selection of skill positions that he's interested in playing. But another rookie, so 2 back-to-back rookies going to the Wildcats here in waning moments of first.
Alrighty, next on the clock is going to be the 49ers with Skinner. Skinner's up to the podium to announce his next pick.
In this round, the 49ers select Ryan Jameson.
Alrighty, Ryan Jameson being picked. He's got listed that he's going to be playing, or wanting to play running back, as well as outside linebacker DE. Believed to be a rookie, Mike?
I don't think he's a rookie, but I don't know how experienced he is. Not a name that I've played with in previous seasons, but a name that has been mentioned. So he does have some football experience, so he's not coming out completely clean. But with a team and a system like Skinner's, it's kind of going to be a clean slate learning experience.
And next on the clock is going to be the Ravens. Jinx up to the podium.
With the next pick, the Ravens pick Savage Machiavelli.
Alrighty, Savage Machiavelli, I believe. I'm not familiar with that name.
Definitely one of our rookies.
Yep.
Savage is a rookie coming in, aspiring to be a quarterback or a running back, middle linebacker, or just a linebacker in general. So outside linebacker position. So never played SL football before. New to the system, and going to a well-rounded team.
The Superchargers select Coda.
Alrighty. Superchargers picking up Coda, another rookie there, listed for quarterback, running back, and any position on defense. So definitely a rookie that's in good hands with the available players to teach him and kind of mold him into the position where they need him. So next up on the clock is going to be the Unicorns. Got 2 picks left.
And it's 2 veterans left as well. We got a veteran lineman in Timmy Tennant and a veteran secondary and receiver in Pat Riddle.
With the Unicorns' next selection, we take Pat Riddle.
Alrighty, and Priddle being grabbed up now. Now, something about Priddle that I've seen lately, like he's been out there mossing. Like, I'm pretty sure he got one up on Alf. I mean, come on.
Pat's definitely came into his game in the more recent times versus previous seasons. You know, he's been solid in the past, but not really a standout. But in some of the pickups leading up to the draft, Pat definitely had a few standout performances, some really amazing touchdown catches. He had some great one-on-one experiences where he came down with the ball and had some advanced route running that is a little bit more to his game than we've seen in the past. So it's going to be very curious to see how Pat pans out with the Unicorns.
Absolutely. And for the final pick of the Season 1 draft, the Scorpions.
With the final pick of the GFL Season 1 draft, Scorpions select Timmy Tennant.
Alrighty, once again, thanks everybody for coming. Good luck to all the teams. And we're going to call that a wrap. I'm Tom Box, he's Michael Slate, and we're around the globe.